Alright folks, this is the Fullerton Informer, Joe Imbriano, coming to you live from the streets of Orange County, California. And it is Wednesday, March 6th, under a cloudy, gray, rainy sky, folks. And last night was one of the first times in a long time where the electrical energy and the water vapor were allowed to discharge and release without any interference. There were no chemtrails last night. And although the rain was rather light, it was beautiful, folks. A little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning. You know, the ozone that's generated when these lightning strikes hit, it really cleans the air, folks. It's amazing what God has created. And it's amazing what man tries to do to screw it up and then create the order out of the chaos through their Masonic scam. That's right, Ordab Chaos, folks. Remember, get smart. Remember the two sides, control and chaos. Remember that? Remember Agent 99, right? It's all in your face. Well, anyway, I want to say good morning to everyone out there. My P.O. Box is 4121 Fullerton, California, 92834. I want to thank you for all of the things you have sent me. And there are some people that have been very nice and generous, and I do appreciate that. Life is hard, folks. Life is hard, but I've got a thick skin, and I've got a cabeza de hueso, if you will. I'm not going to back down, ladies and gentlemen. People, there are now people coming at me from different angles, which I appreciate, because when you're in the activism business, any publicity is good publicity, folks. That's right, you heard me. Because any discussion evokes anger and criticism, and eventually critical thinking to rationalize how to process all of that. And so that's what I hope happens. Some of you out there have gone to great lengths to I don't know, you got a case of Joe on the brain. You may want to go easy a little bit, folks. There's more to life than me, okay? So I got another email this morning from another parent. And they're worried because their child has received a letter from the school district that says they're going to be required to immunize their 7th grade child coming up next year. And I want to talk about this, folks, because this is a problem that a lot of people are going to be facing. I want you to understand that, first of all, the vaccine is a chemical product that is manufactured in laboratories and contains chemicals and biological material. And this biological material is created from a witch's brew of genetic material that is, even in some cases, not even from the human species. But that's not the core of my argument, ladies and gentlemen. The fact is, like a Sony Walkman or a toaster or a meat carving electric knife that comes in a box, it has a product guide, folks, and it's called an insert. And in this insert, it talks about things like toxicology. You know, we all hear about toxicology reports, right? Yeah, we hear about this news reporter that was in a hotel room with some dude and had a heart attack, and they're waiting for the toxicology reports. And it turns out, well, there's meth in the guy's blood, right? Well, the toxicology reports tell a lot of things, folks, because when people die, they run toxicology reports. I had a gal that, really intelligent, bright, fine young lady, did a wonderful report on toxicology of the vaccines, and we put it up on the Fullerton Informer. But when she came to me, she didn't know what Section 13 was. She never heard of it. And she was in a lot of these anti-vax groups with all these controlled opposition Pied Pipers. And she didn't know about Section 13 of the vaccine insert, so I put that in the front of the article. Section 13 of the vaccine inserts is the indemnification clause written by the attorneys for the vaccine manufacturers, ladies and gentlemen. And what it says is the vaccine has not been tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility. So I want you to open your eyes to what I just said. Now, why is it that none of these people in the anti-vaccine movement will equip you with a copy of that and tell you to go into the principal's office and say, we're not going to inject our child based on this statement? And then ask the principal, who has a good command of the English language and an education doctorate. Some of them didn't get it out of a Cracker Jack box, folks. Some of them actually went to college and know how to read things. And you sit down with that principal and say, how dare you force my child to be injected with something? Read this. You tell me how you can lawfully require this. How you can morally require this. This is insanity, folks. You need to print that vaccine insert and do it now before next year. And you all make appointments with your principals and you tell them that we're not going to inject our child because these vaccines have not been tested by the own admission of the manufacturers, whether they can sterilize my child, whether they give my child cancer, or whether they can poison my child, or they kill my child. That's right, folks, because they have basically issued a license to kill. Did you know that a license is permission to do something that's illegal? Did you know that? That's right. That's right, folks. A license is legal permission to do something that is not lawful. Do you know that the vaccine inserts are a license to kill, ladies and gentlemen? A license to sterilize, ladies and gentlemen. A license to poison, ladies and gentlemen. That's correct. And the only way they could legally do this is if they tell you they're doing it and they ask your permission. Now, you have something called implied consent in this arrangement, because what do? If you don't say no, you automatically say yes. All right? Now, are you with me? You got to understand what I'm saying. Del Bigtree's not going to talk about this, folks. R.F. Kennedy's not going to talk about this. Autism One and the Canary Party and, these other nonprofits out there asking for donations, telling you about the ice cream ingredients, are not going to tell you how to defeat this. I want every one of you. Now listen, there's a reason why in Revelation 21:8 it says the first ones in line for the lake of fire are the cowards, folks. Hear me on this. You got to stand up for your children. Now, I understand if you're a single mom and you're working, or if you're a family and you're making ends meet barely and you've got to use the public schools. You know what? You've got to do what you got to do. If you can't homeschool, if that's not possible, you got to put your children in public schools. Then you are supposedly subjected to these edicts that have been passed by the legislatures in different states. I'm telling you, you have what you need to say no to these vaccines, folks. You do not consent to injecting your child with a substance that has not been evaluated for impairment of fertility, mutagenic potential, or carcinogenic potential. You do not consent, folks. You just say no, and you start a paper trail on this process. Now, there's these phony Christian lawyer organizations out there, like, what's this one in California by that Brad Dacus guy? How many times did I bring this to that guy's attention in the email and the phone conversations? And what has he done about this vaccine law? Nothing. He'll sit there and fight for your right to wear a t-shirt with a cross on it at school, right? That's real important, isn't it? When it comes to destroying your children's immune systems and sterilizing them, he ain't nowhere to be found except at a fundraising table over at one of these nice hotels in Newport Beach once a year. That's right! The Pacific Justice Institute? Where the hell are you on this issue? Anybody out there contributing to that organization, pick up the phone and say, hey, pal, fight for me, right? I've all but handed this on silver platters to my state legislators. And by the way, young Kim, the degenerate scum that lost the election for Congress, she wouldn't even meet with me to discuss Section 13 of the vaccine inserts. So, now I think she's, I don't know, maybe she's wiping the grease off her husband's forehead now. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing, but you know what? When she was in the assembly, she refused to meet with me over the vaccine insert. That's right. That's right. And then what does she do? She goes on the assembly floor in favor of it, giving a diatribe that was written by these ding-dongs. They got the hots for your children's bloodstreams, folks. You know, it's hard to be nice all the time, okay? When people are assaulting our children. Every vaccine insert, folks, states in section 13, under the toxicology section, that it hasn't been tested. All right? Therefore, I beseech you, my brethren. No, I'm not quoting scripture. I'm telling you, I'm using the vernacular out of the Bible. I beseech you, my brethren. I plead with you to print that vaccine insert and arrange a meeting with your principal and your school board members and say, we are not going to do this to our child until this product has been proven to be safe. Now, there is no other argument against forced vaccinations, folks. And there is no other legal argument. And why is it that not one attorney, not one of these people that are supposedly in all these armchair warrior, housewife mama groups, come on, ladies, how many of these groups have I been kicked out of, right? Because they don't want to hear it. You know, these groups are always run by this, nice, soft-spoken, sugar bear mama, right? That, oh, we care about our kids and let's make some cartoon cookies today, right? No. Your children are under attack. And men, you need to get involved with this too. Dad, stand up for your children, please. Stand up to these school officials. Stand up to the public health officials. And say, hey, wait a minute. Whoa! Hold your horses here. I'm not going to put this in my kid. It hasn't been tested. Who do you think you are that says I have to do this? No. You find an attorney. Or you just say no, and you push it hard as fast as you can, and get everybody you know to do the same thing, folks. But you see, that involves courage, and that involves people labeling you, and that involves people coming out and saying, oh, your child's now a threat, and you can't come to the birthday party. You know what? Who gives a crap about the frosting party, okay? If you care more about the birthday parties than you care about what's going in your children's bloodstream, then you need your head examined. Look, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, by the way, outside of Walgreens here, the deal of the week. Coke, 12-pack, 3 for $11.99. Isn't that great? The pharmacy's pushing sugar. And this time it ain't the diet joke. Well, actually, it probably is. They're pushing sugar. 36 cans of Coke. That's right, for 12 bucks. 30, they can't, you know what, that is being subsidized. You can't even make it for that price. Unbelievable. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The phone's ringing. Is there a helicopter over me too? Look, folks, I've just given you what you need to do. You need to fight. If you Google Paul Walker, the Fullerton Informer, you look at the story that I did on why they murdered Paul Walker and they blew up his car. He was exposing the sterilants that were in the vaccines that were going into the typhoon aid to the Philippines. They killed him, all right? Because he was exposing how the tetanus shots were laced with beta-HCG. You see, folks, in Kenya they got caught putting beta-HCG in the tetanus shots and administering it to young girls. And what was happening is these girls were becoming sterilized because the tetanus toxoid happens to be the ideal carrier, just so happens to be the ideal carrier of beta-HCG. And so when they inject you with the pregnancy hormone, your body starts making antibodies against the pregnancy hormone, and you can't get pregnant. That's how they sterilize you. Now they've also managed to, in similar fashion, the hepatitis A vaccine has been engineered to have similar abilities. All right, and we know that the viral particles that they're putting in these vaccines did not come from human beings. They've come from animals. These are part of animals' immune systems that have been genetically modified. I'm not going to go into the premise of why these should be avoided at all costs. I've already gone over that at great length multiple times. You can look at the videos I've done on the real truth about viruses and what really causes illness. I'm telling you right now, folks, they can sterilize you, they can give you cancer, they can kill you, they can poison you with vaccines, all right? And you have a way out. What you have to do is read the product guide, the product insert, section 13, and it states that it has not been tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility. Now, if you're sending your child to school ostensibly to be educated, then why is it totally out of the realm of possibilities that you cannot have a discussion with this that's with someone in an official capacity at the school district that's ostensibly educated? Supposedly these people are educated. How can an educated person ignore what I just said? Well, I can tell you this. There are a lot of educated people out there that don't know about this because the controllers in the anti-vaccine movement won't talk about this. And they'll brush over it and they'll gloss over it and fill your head full of all kinds of big words about all these ingredients in the vaccines. There are two main arguments against forced vaccinations, folks. I'm going to give them to you right now. The first argument against forced vaccinations is the vaccine inserts clearly indicate that this is an assault with a deadly weapon. All right? And the second argument against vaccinations is doubling down on the first argument. And that's it. That's all you need. You don't need to talk about the ice cream ingredients in the vaccines. And you don't need to be giving money to these people that are putting billboards up that tell you that you have mercury in your vaccines. You got mercury in your fillings. You got mercury in your high fructose corn syrup. You've got mercury in all kinds of things, folks. There's mercury in tuna fish. Did you know that my mother ate swordfish about every night when she was pregnant with me? Do I look like somebody that's been affected by mercury poisoning? Did you know that my mother used to use mercurochrome on open wounds and gargle with it when she was a child? Do I look like somebody that's been affected by mercury poisoning? Let me tell you something, folks. It's not just the mercury. Mercury's bad news. You don't want to put mercury inside your body. It's poison. But my point is you cannot have an argument about the trace levels of these chemicals. There's aluminum in fertilizer. There's aluminum in baking powder. There's aluminum in your antiperspirants. There's aluminum falling out of the sky. Aluminum's one of the most abundant metals in the Earth's crust. It's everywhere. So we're going to sit here and have argue tit for tat? No, we need to talk about the vaccine inserts, folks. You need to go into the principal's office, make an appointment, and email her the vaccine inserts with a statement that says, I do not consent to this, and you are not going to force my child to do this, and you are legally required by law to look out for the safety of every child here, and by forcing this on my child, that is a complete violation of your duty to protect my child. Vaccines are not safe. They're not proven effective. How can I make that statement? Because the vaccine manufacturers state that they haven't been tested in their own insert. Therefore, they're not safe. They're not effective. Why? Because they tell you they're not. They admit it. And if you don't like my yelling, there's something wrong with you. If you're not upset about this, if you're not upset about how far we've been sold down the river by our elected officials and the degenerate scum that run these so-called anti-vaccine groups that don't tell people about what I just said. I've been screaming this from the mountaintops for years, folks. I've written extensively on this. I've made these statements unequivocally in the public record at many meetings. You know, I don't just hide behind some computer screen, folks. I'm out in the open, all right? And I'm walking back to my car in the dark after these meetings. Come and get me, right? I'm not some guy with a fake name, with some fake channel name that never shows his face or his real name. I'm right here, right? And I'm going to expose the truth, and you need to help me, because one of the ways that we win is that everybody knows what's going on, okay? This is evil, folks. You know, viruses are part of your immune system. Did you know that? Viruses don't occur in nature. They don't exist outside your body. Viruses are part of the cleanup crew when the cell goes into distress. And why does a cell go into distress? Microwaves, millimeter waves, glyphosate, poisons, pesticides, you know, all the stuff that they put all over your food, all the stuff that vector control wants to spray from the sky, all the stuff that the Department of Agriculture wants to spray on your orange trees and dig a trench around the trunk of your trees and pour it into the ground. You know, all the chemicals that are in the perfumes and the plastics and the linings of the cans, the cosmetics, the Victoria's Secret lotion, in the meat, in all the pharmaceutical agents, in the sodas. You know, all these chemicals. You know what causes mitochondrial collapse is all these electromagnetic fields. You know, you wrapping your legs around that Tesla that you're driving around, you thinking, oh, I'm bitching because I got this fancy car with these bright lights that plugs into the wall, right? And as you're driving around on a gigantic transformer in a radio frequency hazard emission zone, right? Well, that's what causes mitochondrial distress and collapse. And so your body puts out the call, that puts out the clarion call, last call for alcohol. No, it puts out the call for viruses to show up, these piezoelectric compounds with a polysaccharide head on there, to inject itself into the cell to provide sugar as the cell's in glycolysis, because it's in distress, and so it switches over to glycolysis, and that viral particle that has the polysaccharide head on it feeds the cell, and then because it's piezoelectric, it starts cranking out some electrons to get that thing jump started, like when a guy conks out from too much blow at the Bellagio with the hooker and they gotta bring the defibrillator. Do you understand what I'm saying? Viruses don't cause disease, folks, but they're taking this endemic part of other people's immune systems and other animals' immune systems, and they're taking them and isolating them and genetically modifying them and genetically engineering them as a weapon, and they're conning you into thinking that they belong in your child's bloodstream. And you know what they do? They actually tell you on the insert. That's right, they actually tell you on the vaccine insert that they're not tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility. You want to know why? Years ago, when I dated this gal that I was madly in love with, and boy, she was a knockout, man. Let me tell you, I mean, she was a knockout, and I never wanted to know if she was cheating on me, even though I could have easily proven it. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to go look. I didn't want to believe it, right? I didn't want to believe it. All I had to do, and there was one gal that I actually did stake out, and I caught her, and that was that. But this girl, I just didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to lose her. She was too much. I couldn't let her go. She was too hot, right? And so you look the other way, right? And you don't want to look in the box, and you don't want to look outside the box. You want to stay in La La Land. That's exactly what's going on here, folks. They don't want you looking, and they don't want anybody studying this stuff, because if they did study it for mutagenic potential, they would find out that it mutates DNA and RNA because it has mutagenic agents in it. Trans-species, zoonotic, genetically modified viruses. What do you think that does to your immune system? Okay, well, they're not going to test it for impairment of fertility. Why? Because they know that it does impair fertility. And they know they don't want to test it for carcinogenic potential hosts because they know there's carcinogens in there. My gosh, you know, sometimes I think everybody has smoked so much pot that they can't get off the couch. No, folks, listen. I'm yelling not because I'm some condescending a-hole. It's because I'm trying to wake you up. I know the majority of my listeners are good, hardworking, intelligent, bright people that are brave and courageous, and they care. And that's why they're here. But I'm trying to embellish some raw, hardcore facts, okay? And I'm not projecting, folks. I'm telling you the truth. And I want you to grasp what I'm telling you. And it's a revolutionary concept to stand up against these people, all right? Because the way they've designed the educational system is, for the most part, they've put nothing but women in charge of everything and employed the women that have the best mastery of psychology in combination with grant writing, and that's how they get all the funding for all the things that are working against you and your children. But those are the ones that are experts in placation and burying things under the rugs and making you walk out of that office after you just got the shaft thinking you just hit the lottery. That's how they operate, folks. You've got to say no. No! That's what you've got to say. And you've got to stand your ground. You've got to stand your ground. Now, I know, look, we're at war, folks. The media's pushing hard. The medical system's pushing hard. The legislatures are pushing hard. They're closing all the loopholes. And we're going to be left with one choice, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the line in the sand, folks. Because they're not only drawing the line in the sand, they are pouring concrete and making a line in the sand. And you know what else they're doing? They've put it on a cart with wheels, and they keep moving it closer and closer and closer to put your back up against the wall. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, folks? Did you know measles was a rite of passage? There was a 100% birth cohort for 100 years in this country where every teenager ended up getting the measles before they were 18. It was a 100% birth cohort, and the death rate was a very inconsequential amount of deaths. No death is trivial, but what I'm saying is back then when people had no access to fresh air and heating and running water and fruits and vegetables like they do now, they were eating a bunch of, you know, Procter & Gamble hydrogenated bleached flour back then, living on biscuits and living in cold, musty brick buildings with no sunlight. Look, folks, my point is, measles is a rite of passage. It's a good shot for the immune system. They're hyping it up. They're hyping it up and making it sound like a death sentence. Folks, you need to open your eyes, okay? All right. All right, I'm going to put the article on the front page of the FullertonInformer.com today with all the vaccine insert links, and you can read section 13 for yourself. Yes, measles is like chicken pox. That's right. The government's got plans for your kids. They want them under their thumb, in front of a screen. That's right. That's right. They want them under your. The government wants the kids under their thumb and in front of a screen, folks. And they're put the media and the medical mafia system. Look, folks. I'll tell you something. See this? You know what the Bible says? You don't mix unclean blood with clean blood. What are they doing? They're mixing unclean blood with clean blood all day long in those pediatricians' office. Okay? That's right. That's right. I'm telling you right now, folks, with a straight face, with a calm voice, I'm even going to fix my tie for you, okay? How's that? All right? Look at me. Listen to me right now, folks. The vaccines have not been tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility. What you need to do is print section 13 of the vaccine insert and take that to the principal's office and sit down and say, "Good morning, Miss Principal. I would like to speak with you regarding this. I've got a letter here that you've sent home with my child stating that my son has, or my daughter has to be injected with these specific pharmaceutical agents. And I'm here to tell you that because they have not been tested, and here's the statement that they haven't been tested, that this is against the law. You cannot bring something like this into a classroom and force it on my child. That is illegal." Okay? That's right, folks. A license to kill is permission to do something that's illegal. The vaccine inserts are a license to kill, a license to sterilize, a license to poison. All right? Now, you need to revoke that license. You need to go into the principal's office and in writing revoke your permission to have your child be injected. I need you all to do this, folks. I'm telling you. Now, who cares if you're going to lose? You know, I'll be honest with you, folks. I never was much for fake friends and fair weather friends and happy parties where people fill up trash cans full of beer bottles and sit in their backyards and watch the football game on the big screen TV. that's what a lot of people are into in my community, okay? And a lot of people in my community, and I've been a community activist in Fullerton for years. I've been a community activist for decades in all these cities in Orange County. And I was never one for making fair weather friends, folks. And if you think these PTA relationships are worth the weight of the paperweight at the fundraising table you're kidding yourself. Okay, let me tell you at the end of the day what really matters. At the end of the day, what really matters is your relationship with God, your relationship with Jesus Christ, the relationship with your family, the relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your children, and your health. Now, nowhere in there did I mention any relationships with your fair weather friends, because at the end of the day, they'll scatter like rats when the lights go on. I've seen it happen. I've watched people run away from me like the plague when it got hot and heavy, and things got controversial, right? They don't care. You need to take responsibility for your children, okay? You need to take responsibility for their health and their destiny, because the fact that you are here listening to the sound of my voice is a testament and a testimony to the persistence of your parents to find a mate and have a family, folks. And they're taking that away, all right? That's right. They're taking that away. These vaccines are a license to kill, a license to sterilize, and a license to poison, all right? You can work within the law if that framework is still available in your state. There are personal beliefs exemptions, there are conscientious objector exemptions, there are religious exemptions, and there are medical exemptions. You can go that route, folks. All right? You can go that route. You can try that. Look, the pen is mightier than the sword. I've always said that. All right? But what I will also tell you is that when those means are not available, we must obey God's law rather than man. And when you think about what happened with the story of Moses, right? You know, there was this edict that came down that said, hey, you got to kill all your boys, right? You know, you got to slaughter your firstborn, right? And what did Moses' parents do? They said, screw that. I'm not going to kill them. I'm going to put them in a basket and put them in a river and let somebody pick them up, and I'll have faith. I'll defy the law, and I'll have faith that this will work out just fine. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm not going to murder my child, right? And what happened? What did Moses end up doing, folks? That's right. You read about Moses. What a miraculous story that was. Well, I'll tell you something. You stand up for your children, ladies and gentlemen. You stand up for your children, all right? And you stand up against these people that are working for the school district. You know, your principal's making about $120,000 a year to follow the law and to follow procedures and to write grant applications to get funding to keep the business going and keep the chairs full and keep all the teachers union employees happy so they can get orthodontics for their children and go have bacon in Europe while they go wine tasting on the Rhine River, right? That's what they brag about on their Facebook pages, okay? But the reality is the school district officials have a duty to protect your children. And what you have to do is you have to stand up for them against these school officials. They will go, the school district is like a paramilitary organization. It's got a hierarchical structure similar to the Vatican, similar to the military, folks. Superintendent, assistant superintendent, this, that, and the other. Then you go down to the principal, the assistant principal, then you got the deans, and then you got the teachers, and you got directors of departments, whatever. They're all in on it, folks. And then you got the school nurse. Okay, and then you got social services in some of these cases that are woven in this. Look, folks, you must say no. All right? They want you to believe that we don't have a choice. We do have a choice, folks. Revoke the license to kill. Revoke the license to sterilize. Revoke the license to poison. And invoke Section 13 of the vaccine inserts. Print it, proliferate it, pontificate on it, produce it when asked, and pass it on, folks. That's your message for the day, ladies and gentlemen. You see these right here? See these blinders? I don't wear my sunglasses during the day, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know why? Because they block the light. They block the light. The sunglasses block the light that comes from the sun, all right? The sunglasses block the ultraviolet that needs to come through my eyes during the day. I don't want to be blinded to the truth. I don't want to be missing out on what has been designed for me to be sustained by, folks. I wear my sunglasses at night. I wear my sunglasses at night because I keep out the bad light at night, folks. You need to keep out the bad blood out of your children's bloodstreams, folks. That's right. And you need to stand up for your children. Moms and dads, I implore you. You went to these great lengths to raise them 9 months in the womb. 9 months in the womb, folks, and those countless nights calming their fears when they come running into your room because they had a nightmare from the Disney video that you didn't realize was giving them nightmares, right, folks? Love your children. Their bodies are amazing, and their bodies are resilient, and they've been created by God. Their immune systems are incredibly powerful. Don't compromise them. If you want to believe the doctors, then you will be forever a slave of their system, folks. And all I'm telling you right now is they've aimed a weapon at your children, and they are using every propaganda outlet humanly possible to coerce you through fear and intimidation to subject your children to the injections, folks. Through diet, injections, and injunctions, we shall have them, folks. Not on my watch, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Imbriano, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at vaxdangers.com, 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 folks. WiFiDangers.com, the FullertonInformer.com, 5GDangers.com, CellTowerDangers.com, Disney666.com. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And you know, they may have this one 18-year-old on the television telling you how he defied his parents. You know, the fool has said in his heart that there is no God. And that the Bible says, children, obey your parents in the Lord so that your days may be long on the earth. That's right. What do you think that kid's doing? He's being used. They threw a suit on him. They're parading him around. He has no idea what he's been injected with. I want to tell you this, folks. I know what he's been injected with. You want to know how I know? Because I've read the vaccine inserts, ladies and gentlemen. And I know what they say. And you want to know something? You need to know what they say. And you need to tell everybody you know what they say. And you need to put this information out to everybody that has a child. And you just ask that simple question, how can they get away with this? They're not going to, folks. All right. God bless all of you. And don't wear your sunglasses during the day. I'm just doing this for the effect, folks. I'm just doing this for the effect. I'm sure I'll hear about it. Oh, and by the way, go to my Facebook page, Joe Imbriano Facebook page, and I want you to comment on that wood carving and tell me what you see inside that wood carving, because we're going to have a broadcast on that tonight. All right? Hit the like button, guys. And, you know, there's a couple videos out there. There was a guy yesterday, he did this video when he was driving his truck. And sir, I don't know what your name is, but, you know, I'm not trying to insult people. I'm just trying to wake people up. And I do appreciate your input. I did not like that lady that said the helicopters were after her because of me. That's why I did what I did yesterday. So hopefully she maybe, you know, got rid of that paraquat she was smoking, or maybe she switched up her meds. I don't know. But, you know, to the gentleman that was driving, I think he was in Colorado. I saw your video, sir, and the points were taken. All right. And I'm on your side, buddy. You know, I'm looking out for everybody. I am not the enemy of humanity, ladies and gentlemen. I think a lot of these people in the power structure are starting to get worried. And they should be, folks, because you know what? We're going to win. God bless all you guys.